Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Universe Mode on the JPG channel. And we are once again, of course, here in Philadelphia. The action continuing. And we are getting ready for one hell of a tag team championship match. The multi-man matches do not end with that 8-man ladder match we witnessed earlier on today. Multi-man matches are going to be similar, some form of a theme here tonight and tomorrow, of course. Both tag team championship matches going to be taking place in multi-man matches. As we are joined by Nathan Frazier, one half of the ever so exciting tag team on Friday Night SmackDown known as Fraxiom. And what an opportunity Frazier and Axiom have here tonight. Their debut at WrestleMania, and they can get those WWE Tag Team Championships around their waists. What a statement victory that would be. As I said, of course, their debut at WrestleMania, and honestly, their debut on pay-per-view. This is their first time on pay-per-view as well, and well earned, might I add, because these two teams, or excuse me, these two individuals, this team of Fraxiom has been nothing short of impressive. As a matter of fact, they hold a victory over one of the teams in this match, in the Street Profits. Of course, the Street Profits being a former pair of tag team champions in their own right, just like the champions heading into this match, the Tongan twins, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. I mean, Fraxiom hasn't been able to defeat the Bloodline in the Tongans, but they have pinned the Street Profits not once but twice. So, I mean, that's half the battle right there. You know, you have the confidence that you can beat one of these teams in this match, but can you beat the other team in the dominant tag team champions themselves, the Tongan twins? A pair of interesting individuals, a pair of absolute wild animals, if you will. And speaking of wild animal, here comes one of those wild animals, Tasmanian devil-esque personality that we see out of Tama Tonga every week on Friday nights. And look at this guy. This is just unsettling. That's what this is. The WWE Tag Team Champion, one half of the WWE Tag Team Champion, Tama Tonga. Of course, these guys have an ego so big that they need, I guess, separate entrances, even though they're the tag team champions. I mean, I guess if we have the time, sure, why not? Needless to say, folks, we're talking about a team that has held those tag team championships ever since last July, defeating A-Town Down Under, fending those tag team championships off from numerous opponents, including the Street Profits. So there is certainly some history between the champs and the Profits already in this match. And then, of course, you have the quickly rising stars in Axiom and Nathan Frazier being introduced into the equation. No pun intended, even though Axiom, I'm sure, is one hell of a mathlete. But indeed entered into the equation, and, well, you have a recipe for one hell of a tag team match. I'll tell you that right now. All six of these individuals are looking to steal the show, and what has already been an incredible show. I mean, we started things off with the 8-man Intercontinental Championship ladder match. That was an absolute car crash. A match that only fitting for a dog to come out on top, that being Braun Breaker. Congratulations to the new Intercontinental Champion, by the way. And what a fight we witnessed between two brutes named Drew McIntyre and Bronson Reed to close out the last part. And believe you me, we have a lot more to come for just night one of WrestleMania, folks. Tama Tonga now being introduced to his tag team partner, Tongaloa. I've never seen these guys come out separately in general. I mean, like I said, there has to be a swag between these two that I'm just unaware of, I guess, because they are certainly feeling themselves here tonight. Tongaloa even just oozing aura, if you will. WWE Tag Team Champions. You want them to be confident because, I mean, the odds are not in their favor here tonight. They have two separate teams that could pin them or pin another member of the team to become the champions. I mean, like I said, there's several multi-person matches here on the WrestleMania card throughout the 2 nights, and that's the danger of multi-person matches, is that the champion doesn't have to be pinned to lose that. We know this as wrestling fans, and that has to be scary coming in as a champion in a multi-person match because, like I said, I mean, you don't even have to be involved in the decision-making of who becomes champion. You could have your back turned. You could be laid out on the floor, and another team or another person is taking advantage and walking out as champions on the grandest stage of them all. Something that the Street Profits would love to do. They're no strangers to WrestleMania, but they've never won championship gold at WrestleMania. That would certainly be a bucket list-esque moment for Tez and Dawkins. And you can see, talk about aura, talk about charisma, talk about confidence. Profits are not lacking any of those 3 categories. We know Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are mainstays, are absolute, I would almost argue, veterans of the tag team division at this stage of their career. Like I said, former multi-time world tag team champions. As a matter of fact, they are Triple Crown tag team champions. They have won both sets of belts on the main roster. They're former NXT tag team champions. I mean, the pedigree of these two, it speaks for itself, and that's exactly why they're here at WrestleMania to begin with. Last year, they were engaging in a battle with a different version of the bloodline, that being Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa, and what a difference a year has made, because on tomorrow's card, Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso are involved in another match together, but they are in a triple threat match with the United States champion Carmelo Hayes. And of course, Roman Reigns tomorrow night has to fend off the bloodthirsty Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu. So as I said, what a difference a year makes. And I cannot stress that enough, because Solo Sikoa has seemingly taken the reins, taken the leadership of the bloodline in Roman Reigns' absence. And now look at this. Frazier immediately trying to attack. I believe that was Tongaloa. We're going to try our best to call the action as we see it, as all 6 of these individuals trying to get some cheap shots in early on in this one. And now Dawkins leaving the ring for a moment there. Axiom trying to fend off Tongaloa. Tez and Axiom in the center of the ring. Snap suplex by Axiom. Goes for a clothesline. Does Frazier. Tama Tonga getting the reversal that time. Big super kick. Lays out Tongaloa. Nice standing shooting star as well from Nathan Frazier. When it comes to pure athleticism, you're going to be looking out for Frazier. You're going to be looking out for Axiom, but do not sleep on Montez Ford, man. That dude can reach the stars if he wants to. And speaking of stars, Montez Ford trying to make a star-making moment, grabbing a Prime bottle, was going to use it to his advantage, but Axiom had other plans in mind. Almost got the job done right there. Did one half of Fraxiom. Hanging Frazier out to dry is Angelo Dawkins. And now Tonga trying to command the ring a little bit here. They are the champions. You know they're going to want to make some sort of a statement. A huge splash into the corner. And now, wait a minute, Axiom was trying to go out of the corner with a springboard-esque maneuver, but did not work out. And now Angelo Dawkins planting Tama Tonga, that is, in the center of the ring. Again, going for it. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, all these men are, look at this, going to be going for pinfall attempts any second that they can get, really. And we almost just had the tag team champions retain right then and there. Axiom was able to get the shoulder out, though. And now Tama Tonga grabbing a hold of Axiom. Trying to fight off, as I said, this ravage animal known as Tama Tonga gets caught right in. Look at that. Huge elbow strike right to the back of the neck. And now Dawkins. Oh, what a sleeper slam-esque maneuver from Dawkins. Tonga Loa now getting back involved. Look at this. Montez Ford making sure the Prime sponsorship gets showcased in this match. He's got a huge Prime bottle. And just whacked Nathan Frazier with it. Now the Street Profits are owning the ring right now. Tama Tonga's got a steel chair on the floor right now. And now a big kendo stick strike right to the face of Frazier. And a drop kick right to the head. And oh, wait a minute. Goes for a cover. Goes for a roll-up. Does Tonga Loa. And now a big jumping DDT by Tama Tonga wipes out Angelo Dawkins that time. Look at this. A Hurricane Rana from Fraxiom. Takes out Tama Tonga. And now a standing shooting star. And this is where the pace will start to quicken. When Fraxiom and Nathan Frazier get their moment in the sun. As you can see, Fraxiom trying to take out both members of the Tongans seemingly. Look out. Big arm drag into a huge drop kick. And simultaneously, Nathan Frazier just dumped Dawkins on his head. Just dumped Dawkins on his head with a poison Rana. And now a big single leg enziguri by Fraxiom. Axiom's taking care of business here tonight. Goes for another standing shooting, but might have got a little too cocky. I got a little too confident in his performances. Look at this. Montez Ford, I told you not to sleep on him. Huge springboard DDT that time by Tez. And now all of a sudden, Tama Tonga wants his moment here. Nice Olympic slam by one half of the tag team champions. That Prime bottle is getting a lot more sponsorship than the actual WrestleMania sign, if you ask me. Big jumping cutter from Tama Tonga. And now Montez Ford working his way over on Fraxiom. You have to keep eyes in the back of your head in a match like this. The referee took a nasty fall. Montez Ford trying to go for a springboard cross by ref, finally getting back up to his feet. And now Nathan Frazier going after Dawkins. Look out, big back body drop by Tonga Loa, wiping out Montez Ford. We got a little bit of action in the corner there between Fraxiom and Tama Tonga. Frazier now targeting one half of the tag team champions. Lightning quick speed by Nathan Frazier. A huge Shining Wizard-esque maneuver. Knee right to the side of the temple. And now Fraxiom, look out, going for a ride. Angelo Dawkins with the sky high spine buster. And now Nathan Frazier trying to escape by using pure athleticism that time. Oh, he just got a Prime bottle right to the face. Like I said, a lot of Prime sponsorship in this match. Look at this. Oh, a huge springboard moonsault off the third by Nathan Frazier. And now Tonga Loa, look out here, going for some version of a sit-out power bomb. Plants him. What a move from Tonga Loa, and he's got the shoulder on the canvas, but Frazier peels it off. And now look out, Dawkins. Dawkins with the silencer. Dawkins with the silencer to go for the cover, but Tama Tonga saving the match. Another poison Rana to Dawkins, this time courtesy of Fraxiom. This match is certainly starting to spill out all throughout the ring and certainly starting to heat up inside of it. And now, wait a minute, Fraxiom. Fraxiom throwing Dawkins to the floor here. What does Fraxiom have planned? But he gets stopped right in his tracks by the lifeless Cargill. Oh, he course corrects and lands the suicide dive anyways, wiping out Dawkins. That is a professional athlete, if you ask me. Fraxiom got stopped in his tracks by Tonga Loa. Oh, what? That was a Prime bottle right to the face of Tonga Loa, speaking of. And Fraxiom was able to get the job done there with the suicide dive. And now, wait a minute, Frazier's in the center of the ring, or going to be, therefore. Huge springboard drop kick, wiping out Tonga Loa. All of a sudden, it is looking like Fraxiom might walk away with the championships in tow. And now look out, here comes Frazier. Frazier now. Big drop kick right to the side of the head of Tonga Loa, that is. And now Frazier turning his attention to Tama Tonga on the outside. Oh, no, I think he was going for another springboard moonsault, but kind of seemingly didn't exactly adjust properly that time. Nice reversal from Frazier. And now look out, Nathan Frazier again, going off the ropes with a springboard elbow drop. And now look out, Frazier is in control here. Look out though, Tanga Loa trying to get the best of him, but Frazier again, lightning quick speed. And not done there just yet. We have seen a handful of standing shooters from Fraxiom, but it never fails to be impressive. Speaking of just being impressive in general, Fraxiom themselves are absolutely making stars out of themselves here tonight. A nice standing Spanish fly by the Spanish native Axiom himself. And now, wait a minute. Chair right to the face of Tanga Loa. Frazier going for a super kick, but Montez Ford now getting met by the golden ratio kick from Axiom. And now goes for the cover. I thought that was going to be it. Frazier had Axiom's back. And wait a minute. Now Tama Tonga now grabbing a hold of the head of Nathan Frazier here. Frazier now going off the ropes. Springboards out of potential danger that time. And now, wait a minute, Axiom was going for some kind of twisting crossbody, I don't know, arm. He didn't get to hit it, so I don't know exactly what he was going for, but throwing caution to the wind is Fraxiom throughout moments in this match. And now all of a sudden, it is anybody's ball game in this one. All 6 of these individuals have wiped each other out time after time in this match. Big drop kick. Might have got a little bit of this. Certainly didn't get all of it. Another Poison Rana hits. This could be Fraxiom's opportunity this time. Everybody's wiped out. It was up to Dawkins to get the shoulder out, and he did. This is championship level competition between the Street Profits here tonight. Like I said, these guys are... Look, another Poison Rana to Tez. I was going to say, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, former Grand Slam Tag Team Champions. And now Tanga Loa trying to take out Axiom again. Gets a golden ratio kick right to the face. This is it. New champs right here. Tanga Loa needs a big kick out. He just got the shoulder out, but meanwhile, Dawkins was there to save the day as well. And now the Street Profits trying to tackle Axiom here, but now Frazier with another Enziguri right to the face of Tama Tonga. And now, wait a minute, Nathan Frazier, what does he have planned here? Big elbow drop to the floor. Wiping out Tama Tonga. Goes for something, does Tez, but he gets a super kick for his troubles. Sling blade from Frazier. And now Frazier going top rope once again where he's oh so comfortable. What a 5-star frog splash that was. Man, I'm going to lose my voice before the first match of this episode is even done. What a match we are witnessing between these 6 individuals. Frazier out of harm's way. Dawkins, though, caught him. Dawkins caught him running into each other. Absolutely gasping for air. It's all 6 of these guys at this point. A suicide dive. Frazier, nonetheless, still using his body to get the job done. Trying to throw caution to the wind to make sure that him and Axiom do not fail the mission in their first night as a part of WrestleMania performers. And now look at this. Tez was going for a roll-up, but Axiom was able to get that shoulder out. It's the Street Profits and Fraxiom going at each other, but look out because Tama Tonga, the madman himself, another Poison Rana. Poison Rana is out of the wazoo here tonight in Philly. And now look out. Dawkins launching Nathan Frazier out into the Philly skies, and now he's got Axiom up on his shoulders, sending Axiom face first into the turnbuckle. Outside of the ring, Tanga Loa now has Frazier spiking him on his head, but we got to pay attention to the action in the ring as Axiom and Angelo Dawkins both jockeying for position. And now Axiom goes off the ropes with a springboard crossbody, wiping out Dawkins. Dawkins, though, wise enough to get to those ropes, make sure Axiom cannot get a count or even a cover of one for that matter. But now Axiom sending Dawkins out to the floor. What does Axiom have planned here? A huge kick. Huge missile-esque drop kick right to the face of Angelo Dawkins. And now, wait a minute, the Pack of Wolves, known as the Tag Team Champions, the Tongans surrounding Axiom. Big, almost single leg kick, almost golden ratio-esque maneuver from Tama Tonga. What would that say about Tama Tonga, if he used Axiom's own finishing maneuver to put him away here tonight, I mean, that would certainly leave a sour taste in the mouth of Axiom. But nonetheless, the fight continues. Montez Ford now heading to the second rope. A huge frog splash connects to Tama Tonga. Frazier's there to break it up, though. And now Nathan Frazier taking his cheap shot at Tama Tonga with a huge standing moonsault. Axiom knocking Montez Ford off the turnbuckle. As now he goes for the cover, but Angelo Dawkins there to make the save. Keep the fight alive for the Street Profits, for the other two teams involved in this match as well. Now Wayman Frazier hit a picture-perfect sling blade, and now he's going off the top rope once again, but there is nothing but disaster waiting for him in the end. Wait a minute, Angelo Dawkins now sending Axiom crashing down with a huge exploder suplex. Tonga Loa looking to get the job done on Montez Ford. Again, Dawkins is making the save. He's coming clutch here tonight, folks. But how clutch is he really? Because he just got face planted by a huge twisting variation of almost a crossroads, or a cutter, if you will, and that will get the job done. Tama Tonga getting the win for his team. An absolute war, six-man warfare we just witnessed between all three of these teams, and you could give credit to both Fraxiom and the Street Profits for putting up one hell of a fight, but you have to give even more credit to the Tongan twins, able to retain those WWE Tag Team Championships under the biggest peer pressure situation that you could really ever think of, not only performing at WrestleMania, but also having to defend those championships in a multi-man match just like this. We are just seeing a few of the highlights of what was an absolute highlight reel of a six-man warfare, triple threat tag team match. And in the end, Tama Tonga was able to get the job done with both members of the Profits in the ring, but it was Tonga Loa coming in clutch at the end, making sure that Montez Ford was completely incapacitated so that Tama Tonga could secure the victory for the Bloodline. And they have definitely set a great standard for the Bloodline for this weekend. Now it's just up for Sol Sikoa and Jacob Fatu to get the job done tomorrow night. Can Sol Sikoa walk out as the U.S. champ? Can Jacob Fatu defeat the OTC Roman Reigns? That is yet to be determined. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the night is far from over as we are getting ready for a bidding rivalry between Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill to finally come to a standstill, finally come to an end, and it's fitting that we're doing this in Philadelphia because it is not going to be one that's quite too pleasant for the eyes. This is Falls Count Anywhere, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. This is going to get very hectic. This is going to get out of hand like this entire rivalry has been from the start. A rivalry that was based on championship aspirations quickly turned more towards a blood feud, more towards jealousy on Cargill's end. Jealousy of the fact that Bianca Belair still remains one of the top women in the division, one of the top female athletes in the WWE. Jade Cargill, of course, a prominent rising athlete here in WWE, but certainly not on the pedigree, doesn't have the star or the spotlight that Bianca Belair would, and that seemingly just got under Cargill's skin. And well, we saw how she took matters into her own hands back at the Elimination Chamber in Australia. Bianca Belair wasn't even competing in a match that night, and Cargill still decided to strike, well, while the iron was hot, so to speak, and putting Bianca Belair through that announce table, hitting her with a jaded in the center of the ring, and basically leaving her, Bianca Belair that is, as a lifeless carcass that the Vulture and Rhea Ripley would pick off of and cash that Money in the Bank briefcase in. And now all of a sudden Rhea Ripley tomorrow night is walking in as Women's World Champion, and Bianca Belair is walking in to WrestleMania empty-handed, but also with a pretty heavy vendetta against Jade Cargill. This isn't about no championships anymore between these two ladies. This is good old-fashioned revenge. This is good old-fashioned, as I said, a blood feud, if you will. That's why this stipulation has been added to the match. It's Falls Count Anywhere. These two Ladies, we're not going to be sustained to just the ring. They can fight all over Philadelphia if they please. Cargill and Bianca Belair getting ready to do battle. It was sure to be one hell of a match, and what has already been one hell of a night at WrestleMania. As you can see, both of these women firing away already with the chops and the punches right to the face. Back and forth we go. Neither superstar wants to even give an inch, let alone a mile, but Bianca Belair getting the better of Cargill that time with a huge elbow strike right to the jaw. And now Cargill in this match, obviously these two ladies, this is not the first time that these two have competed, and it's always been a competition between these two, but like I said, there's a little bit more than competition here tonight. There's going to be tests of strength. There's going to be, testing each other's endurances and each other's speed. But you can also see, as I said, these two women know each other like the back of their hands now, doing several reversals before this match could even really start. Cargill and Bianca Belair have trained immensely for this night. As I look at this, speaking of training, look at that. Pure athleticism out of Bianca Belair. A huge tope con hilo dumping over the head of Jade Cargill. And now sending Cargill right into that LED barricade that WrestleMania has debuted quite fashionably, but I don't know how fashionably it's going to be after Bianca Belair throws Cargill in there a number of times. Already threw her twice. Now Cargill is trying to fight back, but as I said, you have an enraged Bianca Belair. We've seen Bianca Belair when she's at her best, when she's focused. Imagine if she was, a stark, raving, mad woman, and that's exactly what she's coming in as after the things that Cargill has done to her and the leaks leading up to this match. But again, Jade Cargill appears to be the superior when it comes to the strength department, and that's not something I say lightly. Look at this, went for a frog splash, but Belair able to sidestep, get out of the way. And speaking of strength advantage, Belair looking to showcase a little bit of her strength. A deadlift back suplex, knocking Cargill down. And now what the hell's Belair doing? She's on that barricade. What the hell's Bianca Belair got planned here? Going for a 450, but clearly estimating the distance that time. Cargill's now going to be able to capitalize here as a huge elbow strike lands to Bianca Belair. Not going to be able to hit too many of those. Belair is quickly able to come back into this one after a nasty spill off that barricade. And now, wait a minute, Bianca Belair now again. Another moment in this match where she gets to showcase her strength against Cargill. And I guess if at first you don't succeed, try again, because Belair is now back on that barricade. Now looking to miss twice. A huge double axe handle off the barricade. Belair seems to be proud of herself after sticking the landing that time. Like I said, it is not going to be no easy night at the office for either of these women, really, especially with weapons being allowed, weapons being a factor contributing into this match. Bianca Belair already using a weapon in the steel steps. Looks like she's waiting for Cargill to get up to her feet, but seemingly the EST here getting a little impatient. Oh, she just threw those steps right at the back of the neck of Cargill. Threw her steps right at the back of the neck of Cargill, and that could cause a concussion in its own right. But Cargill somehow able to get back into this one, and now hanging Belair out to dry on the barricade. A huge big boot right to the back of the head. These two ladies are out to, like I said, put each other in the hospital, concuss one another. I don't know, develop CTE after this match, something. As now Cargill just mocking Bianca Belair at that point, just quite literally running circles around her after hitting a nice collegiate-esque German suplex. And speaking of a German suplex, Belair's going to raise her one that time with a huge German suplex right to the back of the neck, the higher end of the neck. And now, wait a minute, Bianca Belair has a stop sign, and a huge stop sign strike right to the face of Cargill. We said it, folks. It's going to get ugly before it gets any prettier between these two. And as I said, it's almost just absolutely unbelievable what has come to this between these two right now. Of course, starting, as I said, as championship competition all the way back at Night of Champions, when Bianca Belair would be able to defeat Jade Cargill for the women's world heavyweight championship. This rivalry has been stemming almost the better part of a year, back when Sasha Banks was the women's world champion, and these two were fighting for a shot at the championship. These two have been at each other's necks all year, and it's culminated into Philadelphia, folks. And who can forget their two wars already? Clash at the Castle, where Cargill almost seemingly pulled off the upset, defeating the EST, and then not only maybe a month or so later, maybe 2 or 3 months later, Bianca Belair would even the scorecard with a victory in Chicago at Survivor Series. As now Jade Cargill just sent Bianca Belair right into those steel steps, and Cargill has some bad intentions on the mind, but Bianca Belair able to turn things around again. Huge single leg drop kick right to the face. And now Belair driving some sharp elbows. Another single leg drop kick right into the jaw. And now Belair once again on that barricade. Went for the 450 earlier, and she nailed it that time. Referee Charles Robinson in perfect positioning here. Although kind of unorthodox for a referee to be outside the ring pinning. But like I said, this is false count anywhere, folks. These two women can go anywhere in the building that they please, and they choose to do battle outside of the ring for now. As now Cargill sending Bianca Belair almost directly into that prime cart, and a huge smack to the chest of Belair. And Cargill just seemingly destroyed that prime cart by just, I don't even know, by interacting with it seemed like. And now she's got those prime bottles smashing into the face of Bianca Belair. And now, wait a minute, speaking of the face of Bianca Belair, goes straight in to that announce table. And now Cargill, I guess, getting in a little bit of a few reps in mid-match. That's that arrogance that we talk about when it comes to Jade Cargill. Yes, she is as impressive as the day is long, but she has to leave that ego at the door, especially when it comes to big fight feel matches against a woman of Bianca Belair's caliber. And speaking of the caliber of Bianca Belair, she just landed the KOD on the floor. This could be all over. Going for the cover here, the kiss of death lands, but no, Cargill just peeling that shoulder, I would say off the mat, but we're outside the ring, so, well, we're certainly off the outside of mat ring, if you will. It's now Bianca Belair upcharges the prime to a bigger bottle, slamming into the back of the head of Cargill. Cargill's going for a spear, was able to connect, but only gets a 1.5 count. As now it's Cargill finding a way back into this match. This has been absolutely brutal between these two, as we kind of tried to lead out to a disclaimer before this match even began that it was going to be like this. There's certainly not going to be no collar and elbow tie-ups between these two. That has long gone out the window between these two. The wrestling aspect of this match is long gone, and we knew that as soon as this stipulation was added to the third and final match between these two ladies. And now Cargill with a huge powerbomb onto that announce table just a few moments ago, and seemingly targeting the face and forehead of Bianca Belair, driving a knee right into the face of Belair. Cargill is taking her time here. I don't know if I would exactly agree with this strategy, but she looks for more hardware under the ring as she grabs a trash can of all things, just throwing that trash can right at Bianca Belair, almost pretty much telling her exactly what she thinks of her. As I'm sure she would reiterate that being garbage. Is now, speaking of the garbage can, huge power bomb right onto the garbage can, and Cargill this time wasting little to no time to get in the cover, but still Belair finds a way out. If I'm Jade Cargill, I've literally thrown almost everything but the kitchen sink at this woman, and she is still kicking out at not even 2, at 1.5. Bianca Belair refuses to give an inch to Jade Cargill, as now Cargill is done playing games here. She's ripping apart the announce table out here by ringside area. And now Cargill, you can see the frustration just, I mean, it's obviously just showing on Cargill's face at that point, and frustration is how you make mistakes, as you just saw there. She just got introduced into the LED ring post on the outside, courtesy of Bianca Belair, Irish whipping her face first into it. But the one thing you have to credit about Jade Cargill is her resiliency in this match. She's able to come back and basically take everything that Bianca Belair is throwing at her and come back and throw something twice as worse. And speaking of something twice as worse, a huge choke slam through the announce table, sending the EST crashing through it. Goes for the cover, still not enough. Bianca Belair still with that fight left in her. Cargill now arguing with our official, Charles Robinson. Jade said that was a 3 count on her end, but I mean, you're dealing with a senior official in Charles Robinson. There's a reason why he was assigned this match. I mean, he wants to call it exactly as down the middle as he can really get in a match like this. I mean, his hands are tied in a match like this. The only thing that he can really do is count to 3. Other than that, he just has to let these two superstars really just beat the hell out of one another. As now Cargill, what has she got now? She got a kendo stick. Kendo stick now driving into the midsection of Belair. That's going to leave welts on the body. We know Bianca Belair loves to use her hair, her whip as a weapon, as we just saw right here, right now. Oh, just when I was saying that, she decides to use it. Speaking of welts on the body, that hair whip's going to leave a welt right on Jade Cargill's body. These two are going to have some reminders of this brutal night, this violent night in Philadelphia. That is for certain. As now Belair, with that hair whip, was able to secure the advantage back into this match. These two, like I said, not giving each other an inch. The momentum has been as a pendulum swing, as a matter of fact. I don't think either of these women have completely won this match, really. I don't even think it's about winning at this point. I think it's about incapacitating one another, and to the point that neither can even stand nor, answer to the count of 3. And now Cargill with a chair shot right to the face. Cargill's got that steel chair. Like, literally everything has been introduced into this match at this point. You've seen trash cans, we've seen prime bottles, we've seen steel chairs, kendo sticks, announce tables imploded out here by ringside. And now again, Belair trying to get back into this one, but Cargill, like I said, just that resiliency that's keeping her in the fight. As once again, she seemingly is just ragdolling the EST, overpowering Bianca Belair time after time after time. That was the story of the very first match these two women had, and that's what really gave Cargill the win that night. But that was the first time that Bianca Belair has ever encountered a performer that's really can meet her at her best, can meet her at the standard that Belair holds for herself. Of course, like I said, these two women are, as much as they don't want to be alike, they certainly have a lot in common as far as performance is concerned, as far as peak athleticism is concerned. And now Belair, look at this, I was going to say she was trying to double leg Cargill, but she's actually going for a roll-up attempt. That almost ended on a roll-up. How embarrassing it would have been for Cargill to lose on a roll-up. And what was seemingly going to be, the rubber match to this blood feud. This should be the last time these two women get into the ring. I don't know how you one-up yourself after everything we've seen tonight. And now Jade Cargill setting Belair off the ropes. Another big bicycle kick right to the face. And if I'm Jade Cargill, I'm pinning Bianca Belair right then and there. I don't know what the hell she's doing. Instead, Cargill is, seemingly trying to add a little bit more insult to injury. She grabbed something out there. She grabbed another Prime bottle. A lot of Prime sponsorship here tonight at WrestleMania. We saw a lot of Prime usage in the tag team, the 6-man tag team tornado match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Now we're seeing more here tonight as Cargill, now she seems to be done playing games, hits the Jaded on Belair, and that's going to put the EST away here tonight in Philly. But no, Belair got the shoulder out. Belair getting the shoulder out at 2.5. And now Cargill, like I said, if there wasn't frustration building on the inside of Cargill before. She just hit Belair with her finishing maneuver, and Belair basically asked her, what else you got? And now here comes Bianca Belair again, trying to get back into this one. As much as Cargill has withstand all the punishment that the EST has thrown at her, you could say the same thing for Bianca Belair, but you could see the exhaustion settling on both these athletes. Cargill was going for a big boot. Belair seemingly was going for a spear, and neither connected. And now these two just running into each other. And now there's the spear that Belair was looking for. There's the spear that Belair was looking for. Cargill trying to find a bit of a safety blanket on that corner of the ring post. But that turnbuckle did not end up being her best friend. And now Bianca Belair calling Cargill up to her feet. Belair's in a very precarious position right there, but I was going to say that table is just waiting for somebody's doom on the outside. I would not want to have been there if I was Belair, but she was able to keep the control. A huge spear into the corner now. And now trying to drive those boots into the face of Cargill, but Cargill with a clever reversal out of harm's way. And again, a steel chair in the hands of Cargill. What the hell has Jade got planned here? She's calling Belair up to her feet. Now it's Jade out on the apron. Look out! Springboard crossbody. We talk about the athleticism of both these athletes. I think Cargill just one-upped Belair's own athleticism, and that's hard to do, trust me, especially on the grandest stage like WrestleMania. And now I went for another big boot, but Belair's seen that movie once or twice. A huge strike. A huge elbow strike right to the face. And now, wait a minute. Oh, no. Now it's Cargill. Oh, I thought Belair was planning to put her through the table, but I guess not. Is now a huge face. She just clubbed her to the back of the head and sent her face first onto that steel chair almost. And speaking of the power game, Belair's going to one-up Cargill there, too. A huge deadlift power slam. Immediately goes for the cover, and yet it's still not enough. We are still in this fight. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill at this point have to be questioning as to what it's going to take to put either person away. And here's another 450, this time off the top rope. That has got to be it. And oh, Cargill gets the shoulder out again. Man, what the hell? These fans have been treated to one hell of a fight between these two ladies here tonight. Living up to the billing is basically what I would call this match. A Falls Count Anywhere. Yes, they've utilized that stipulation, but they've also utilized every single weapon that they have available, if you ask me. As now the table, once again, being introduced. Nice standing shooter from Bianca Belair. Going for the cover again, and now Cargill again with a shoulder out. And now it's Bianca Belair getting frustrated. We saw Cargill arguing with Charles Robinson earlier, but wait a minute, Cargill just kipped up out of nowhere, almost as if she expected that Bianca Belair was going to, start questioning the officials' count, the officials' verdict in this match. But as I said earlier, we saw Cargill arguing with the official. Now it's Bianca Belair almost uncharacteristically arguing with the official. Belair's not usually one to lose her temper, but in a situation like this, a must-win match, if you will, for Bianca Belair after the humiliating attack from Cargill in Australia, costing the EST her championship weeks before WrestleMania. If you ask me, Bianca Belair should be fighting Tiffany Stratton tomorrow night for that Women's World Championship. But as I said, Cargill made sure that if she wasn't going to walk into the Philadelphia with a championship match after losing the Women's Elimination Chamber, then she didn't want her adversary, Bianca Belair, walking in as the women's champion either. And now what the hell has Cargill got planned? She's finally going to utilize that table to her advantage, or at least try to. Oh, no. What the hell is this? Cargill locking Bianca Belair up on the top rope, going for an avalanche Jaded through the table. That table exploding upon impact. And speaking of an impact, Bianca Belair just made an impact of a statement by kicking out of that one. And now Cargill Now, I would be arguing with the official after a kick out like that, too. There's no way in hell that Bianca Belair just kicked out of an avalanche Jaded. And now Cargill, I don't know, man. Bianca Belair is almost unresponsive at this point. Cargill needs to get back into the fight, though, as now, wait a minute. I think that she might have just cost herself this match by getting a bit of a temper, getting a bit of a hothead, letting frustrations get the better of her because a second kiss of death, this time a kiss of death with a little bit of a combination of wood from that table, getting the job done. Belair able to overcome the quite literal storm in Jade Cargill tonight. She weathered the storm of Jade Cargill here tonight in what was an absolute, just, I don't know, a display of anarchy that we've never seen here on the JPG channel, let alone in the WWE in its entirety. I mean, you go back to some of the highlights of this match. I think the editing team would have one hell of a time trying to clip this match down to try and find some of the highlights. I would argue most of this match is just a highlight in itself because Belair and Jade Cargill threw everything that they had at one another and just the absolute violent match. There's no pretty way to there's no way to twist it. There's no way to talk about it except for that. But the only thing we're going to be talking about after this match is done is the fact that the EST weathered the storm of Jade Cargill and came out on top here in Philadelphia. Congratulations to Bianca Belair. And what a grueling war this was. Well, folks, we are moving on to more action in the women's division, as a matter of fact, as we are getting ready for the women's tag team championships to be defended. Of course, we are joined now by the women's tag team champions themselves, Asuka and Iyo Sky. Two women that have held those women's world championships for quite some time here on the JPG channel. They have fended off every single team pretty much in the division, as a matter of fact, as well. But tonight, they might have their work cut out for them because they are going against two prominent young female athletes, two prodigies, if you will, and I don't use that word lightly considering Roxanne Perez likes to call herself the prodigy, but Cora Jade is also on Roxanne Perez's level, as we've seen time and time again throughout last season on the JPG channel. Two women that have slowly been making a name for themselves here in Universe Mode, and now they have an opportunity to defeat two former women's champions in their own right, in Iyo Sky and Asuka, and maybe arguably the most dominant women's tag team champions we've ever seen. It is certainly not going to be an easy task for Team 2001, that being Perez and Cora Jade, to get the job done. But, I mean, if you ask me, I do have faith in their abilities. I do have faith that, you know, I don't want to just flat out say that they can and will beat Asuka and Iyo Sky, because you're talking about two of the best that Japan has to offer when we talk about the Empress of Tomorrow and the Genius of the Sky. But I do have faith that Perez and Cora Jade can hang in there with two veterans like Asuka and Sky, and maybe they pull off what you'd have to argue would be an upset, given, you know, just how much of a difference in experience-wise that this match is. Perez and Cora Jade seemingly have just started their careers here on the main roster, obviously having success down in NXT, but this is a completely different yard, completely different playing field when it comes to the main roster, as they're about to find out when they get into the ring with two of the best that the women's tag team have to offer in the women's tag team champions themselves, Iyo Sky and Asuka. And what a night it has been for women's wrestling. Of course, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill absolutely just setting the standard for what women's wrestling is nowadays, with and just showcasing that they're not just, you know, they're not just there for a poster. They're not just there for, you know, because they look attractive or anything like that. They can throw it down just like any superstar that gets in that ring. They can throw it down just like the legends. They can get extreme. They can use weapons. They can brutalize one another. That's exactly what we saw in that match. Meanwhile, this match should be a little bit different of a scenario. I mean, there's rules to follow in this match. Traditional tag team wrestling, you know, only 2 members are going to be in the ring, and the other members of the team will be waiting in a tag on the outside. Something that we don't have a lot of on the card here tonight. As I said, a lot of multi-man matches for tag team championships, as we saw at the start of this part of WrestleMania, with the Tongans retaining against Fraxiom and the Street Profits. And of course, tomorrow night we have a tremendous fatal 4-way tag team match. Of course, Tornado rules there as well on the Raw side. But until we get to that, we're just here for some good old-fashioned classic tag team wrestling, as we are seeing good old-fashioned tag team continuity between Asuka and Iyo Sky, with a teamwork of a double suplex that time. And now Asuka immediately going to work on the arm of the Prodigy. Gonna soften up that arm. Could be looking for that Asuka lock later on. That's the thing about veterans like Sky and Asuka. You know that they are coming into this match already figuring out a strategy as to how they're going to walk away with the victory. Meanwhile, Perez and Jade, they might have a game plan, but you know, when the butterflies settle in, when the pressure gets to a young performer like these two, you might just have to, I don't know, you might just have to call an audible. You might just have to go off of the moment. You might just have to dig deep. I mean, you're definitely going to have to dig deep when it comes to being in the ring with Asuka and Iyo Sky. As you can already see, Perez making a few mistakes in the early goings. As now Asuka calling Perez up to her feet. A huge crossbody connects off the top rope. But again, Jade, like I said, do not sleep on her. Just because most of the spotlight or the talk about who the future is Perez, Jade is no slouch in her own right. As now Roxanne Perez sending Iyo Sky into the steel steps. Definitely showing a bit of a harder edge is Perez, showing exactly that she doesn't care what she has to do to get the job done here tonight. And that's kind of the attitude that you have to have coming into a big fight like this with tag team championships on the line. As now Asuka again able to take control. A huge German suplex stacking Perez on her neck. And now Asuka off the ropes. Full head of steam. Went for I think she was going for a Shining Wizard. Almost Enziguri-esque maneuver. But Roxanne Perez able to actually catch Asuka slipping for once. Able to catch a very uncharacteristic mistake of the veteran herself. As now Perez is going to take that ball and roll with it, because here comes the Prodigy back into this one. Going for a wheelbarrow face buster. And I like the constant pin attempts that Perez has been trying to get on Asuka every chance that she gets. I mean, that just shows that she's a student of the game in every sense of the word. As now Perez just biding her time, trying to think about her next strategy here. Her next attempt of offense is now getting Asuka back up on her feet. And now Irish whipping Asuka into the corner. Nice arm drag from Perez. Again, trying to... Oh, but Asuka turning it around. I was going to say, trying to keep the momentum on her and Jade's side is Roxanne Perez. Nice chop to the leg. And now a kick to the leg. That could certainly play a part later on in the match. Asuka having, an injury to that leg. We know Asuka was trying to work over the limbs of Perez earlier on tonight, but now it's Roxanne Perez was going for a double down, but Asuka was able to actually step out of the way, and now Iyo Sky turning things around. Rolls through into a huge double foot stomp. That almost got the job done right there. It's a different type of match when Iyo Sky gets in the ring. I mean, you're talking about if Asuka is, this veteran of the ring, if she is one of Japan's best, Iyo Sky might be Japan's #1. Iyo Sky is oftenly revered as one of the best professional wrestling women on the planet. As now, wait a minute, Iyo Sky is going to show that right here and right now, as Perez was seemingly trying to step out of the ring, maybe try and get Iyo Sky a little bit out of her comfort zone. But the thing about Iyo Sky is she's comfortable in every aspect of that ring, whether it being inside or out, as now she targets Cora Jade, hanging Cora Jade out to dry. And now back in the ring, Iyo Sky going for a submission attempt on Perez. And now, wait a minute, it is cinched in. Perez seemingly was busted open somewhere on the outside of the ring, and there's blood dripping down her face now. And now Iyo Sky, wait a minute, now it's Perez going for a submission attempt of her own. A submission attempt on Iyo Sky, but Asuka there to stop it. There to prevent a potential submission out of Iyo Sky. What you talk about statement victory. And speaking of submissions, again, Iyo Sky getting Perez in to her clutches, a Koji clutch, as a matter of fact, from Iyo Sky. I don't think Perez is going to find a second way out of this, but yes, again, a sharp elbow right to the side of the head. That'll get the job done 9 times out of 10, as now Perez ground and pound onto Iyo Sky, and now sends Asuka off the ropes. And now all of a sudden, the Prodigy is finding her way back into this one. She's seemingly fending off both members of the Women's Tag Team Champions, Asuka and Iyo Sky. It's hard to defeat one of those ladies, let alone 2 of them, as Cora Jade has tried to make her presence known in this match a few times, actually saving Perez from defeat. As a matter of fact, is now, wait a minute, speaking of defeat, it might be all but elementary, as now Iyo Sky hits the over the moonsault. Is this gonna be it? But Perez got the shoulder out. Perez got the shoulder out. I don't even think Iyo Sky can believe it. The heart that this kid has, is now Iyo Sky again sending Cora Jade off the turnbuckle. And that's championship wrestling 101 from Iyo Sky. She knows that Cora Jade has been a factor more than once in this match. So, of course, she takes care of business. As now Iyo Sky was going for perhaps another tag team move with Asuka, but Roxanne Perez finding her way out of the dangerous corner of Sky and Asuka. Now, finally, Perez getting Cora Jade into this match. Now, Cora Jade, look out, a huge running senton. Running senton connects. Got all of it, did Cora. And now sending Asuka down to the floor. Cora Jade taking a page out of Iyo Sky's playbook. And now, wait a minute, Cora Jade's top rope. Another senton, this time off the top rope. That could be enough. That could be enough right then and there. Iyo Sky, the damage has been done. And we credit, Iyo Sky trying to isolate the ring earlier on. It's Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez that have tried to keep Iyo Sky isolated away from Asuka this entire match. And now sliced bread. A sliced bread. Standing Shiranu from Cora Jade, but again doesn't get the job done. You got to credit Iyo Sky here. She is getting absolutely just overwhelmed by these two young and hungry female athletes, Perez and Cora Jade. Double knees into the corner. And yet she's still finding the wherewithal to kick out of these maneuvers. And now Perez going top rope. What the hell's Perez got planned here? Huge frog splash. Got a lot of airtime that time. Is she going to get the championships with that? But no. Iyo Sky again kicking out. And now Perez off the ropes. Oh my goodness. A huge running Meteora. The running Meteora connects. And now wait a minute. Cora Jade. Look out for Cora Jade. Now she's trying to attack Asuka. Meanwhile, Roxanne Perez has Iyo Sky in a crossface. Oh my gosh, she just made the Genius of the Sky submit. Roxanne Perez was going for that submission hold earlier on in the match. And Iyo Sky found her way out of it, but it was that damage just torquing at the neck, just working over the body of Iyo Sky. Just all the wherewithal of Iyo Sky at the end of the day was just not enough. And now all of a sudden we have brand new women's tag team champions in Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez defeating the veteran team of Asuka and Iyo Sky. As I said before this match even began, if they have won, this is indeed a statement victory for Team 2001. Congratulations to Perez and Cora Jade. Culminating what a year's worth of effort, a year's worth of hard work And it was all for those women's tag team championships. What a moment that these two share. Two best friends in this business now standing atop the women's tag team division. Congratulations to these two here at WrestleMania. What a moment.